before I hand over to our amazing speakers, Ben and Ralf, I'd like to give just a very, very brief, bite-sized introduction to design thinking. However, I'm not going to talk about the entire process, because otherwise we'll be sitting here tomorrow evening still, and we won't have time for the other talk. So we've decided that each meetup will just give you just a little small bit. So if you keep coming regularly, you'll eventually get the whole story, okay? Last time I spoke briefly about understand. So what we'll do today is just 5 minutes about observe. Observe is the second phase in the design thinking process. Have you seen this process before? Who's familiar with it? Okay, most of you. So basically, design thinking is based on this kind of process. And observe, for me, is the foundation of design thinking. It really is the most important part. If you want to start a project, you have to know what kind of problem you're going to solve. And you find that out by gaining empathy with the users, by really understanding what their problems are, who they are, how they do things, what they do, in what situations they are, why they're not doing certain things. And only if you really understand their motivations and problems and insights, then you can start actually building a product for them. So you really have to first find a problem worth solving. Once you have that, then you can start innovating and coming up with amazing ideas. But that doesn't happen on its own. So you really have to understand who your users are. If you want to create products that people will love, like Freeletics, you really have to understand their passion, their insights. And you only get that by actually talking to them. Not just by doing analytics on how many people have downloaded the app, but actually going out there, talking to people, getting their real stories, finding out what motivates them, what gets them really going, and what scares them at night, what keeps them up at night. And if you know that, then you can really build products that people will love. And ultimately, that's what we want to do, all of us. Amongst one of the many tools you can use in that phase, in that user research phase, of course, is interviews. Actually talking to real people, like here in this room. You can actually talk to the person next to you. And you'll be amazed what you can actually find out when you talk to human beings. And when you talk to them, you're trying not just to ask them what you actually want, but you're really trying to discover facts or answers you actually didn't even know existed before. So, to quote Donald Rumsfeld, you're interviewing people to discover the unknown unknowns. Also, on the other side, of course, you want to test your assumptions. You want to validate or invalidate your assumptions. Is that what you thought of those people? Is that actually true? Are they doing the things they always that you believed they were doing? I quite like this photo, actually. It was taken in the government digital services offices in London. They do this amazing website called gov.uk. Write it down, check it out, it's amazing. And it's just a little reminder. They stuck a huge piece of paper on the window, cut a little hole in it with a big arrow saying, users. And on the street here, it's a corner in London, you see little people walking around. And it's just a reminder that you can't find the answers in this office. You actually have to go outside and talk to the real people. And often, being in this environment, we get lazy, and the budget is tight, deadline is tight, and we thought, oh no, we don't really want to talk to people, it's hard work, and it actually is hard work. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and you will be surprised how valuable it is and how many insights you can get. There's one problem with interviews. People are nice, so they might actually lie. They might not tell you the full truth. So you have to be careful. You have to trick them into telling you the right thing. The thing is that people are friendly. They want to help you. They want to be nice to you. If you ask them for advice, or if you ask them for their opinion, or if you ask them for help, of course they're going to say, yeah, sure, this is amazing, this is cool, this is great. Actually, it's not that great. Of course, they're not going to tell you that because they're nice. So by asking the right kind of questions, you'll get them to give you the right answers. And there's 3 things you have to remember when you talk to people. They're good questions and bad questions. First of all, ask open questions. If you want people to tell you a story, don't ask them something where they can only answer with yes or no, or red and blue. Encourage them to tell a story, because once they start talking, you can then actually dive deeper into elements of the story, and you can find out more about how they do things and how they don't things. Second, don't ask for opinions. Opinions are worthless. I mean, you really want facts, because on facts you can actually build something. If someone is just saying, oh yeah, I really like it, cool. No, you can't look into their head. They might think, what a lot of rubbish is that. Doesn't really help you. Number 3, stick to the present and the past. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. Who knows? Am I going to use this service tomorrow? I have no idea. I might have a headache. God knows. Might not want to spend money on this. So really stick to things that happened in the past. Now, just a little test for you if you actually paid attention to what I just said. Would you ever use a shampoo to make your dog smell better? Is that a good question or is that a bad question? Bad. Why is it bad? You have to speak up.
Future closed.
It's a closed, yeah. What else? Why is it a bad question?
It's obvious.
It's obvious.
Because you say what to use already, like a shampoo. And it's not about the shampoo, it's about smell better. So it could be anything that makes the dog smell better.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? It's about opinions as well.
Yeah.
And
Give
future.
Give your own opinion.
Yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to use this shampoo or not. I might actually like the smell of my dog.
Yeah. And why asking only about dogs?
Exactly. How can we rephrase this? What do you normally do? Tell me about your dog's habits. Do you go out for a walk? Give me a story about it, and then I can figure out if shampoo is the right way. Talk me through the last time that happened, good or bad. You said already. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the person has to come up with a story. Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with this question. It's a good one. Do you think it's a good idea?
No.
Do you think it's a good idea?
It's not.
Why? Opinion. How are you dealing with it now? Oh, go on then.
Good.
Is it good or bad?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Ask him. It's a good one. Nearly done. What would your dream product do? Tricky. It's a tricky question. It's a trick question. No.
It's a bad question because you ask for a solution.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I would say it's also a good question because it gives imagination.
Mm-hmm.
It's inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't refer to the needs, maybe. So one comes up with, as I said already, with solutions, but you might have some hidden needs or meaning that you're looking for that you would not express with
Mhm.
such a question.
Mm-hmm. Oliver, do you want to add something?
Good question, because we can tell a story.
Okay, I'd answer it's a tricky one. If you just leave it like that, it's not going to give you much information. If you have a follow-up question where you're actually trying to understand the underlying motivation of what a dream product would do, then it becomes a good question. So combine it, not just leave it with one, but have a follow-up question to find out why it is like that. And the last one, why? Come on, that's obvious. Asking why, preferably 3 times in a row.
5 times.
Okay. I do have to say, okay, why can be quite brutal. It might actually scare people if you say, why? You know, you can reformulate. You can also say, just tell me more about it. I don't quite get this. Just dig deeper. So why is quite brutal. But we like being brutal here, so I'm brutal to you now. Pair up with a person you don't know, you haven't met before in work or as a friend, so a stranger, and ask him, why did you come to this meetup? But don't ask him just once, because the person might say, oh yeah, because I want to learn something about Design Thinking Meetup. Don't ask again. So why do you want to learn something about Design Thinking Meetup? And ask at least 3 times, but please don't make the person cry next to you, because that actually might happen. So I'll just give you 2 minutes, quickly grab someone and ask them what they're doing here, why they're here, and ask several times. Okay? Go, go, go. So just to finish this little thing, if you remember one quote from the observe phase of design thinking, it's by Steve Blank. There are no facts inside this building. So get outside. Get outside. It doesn't say stay inside. Get outside, okay? And with those words, I'm going to finish my little bite size of design thinking. If you come next time, I'll be talking about the point of view, about bringing it all together, the research phase, and before we head to ideation phase.